This is Scott, everybody. Say hi to Scott, everybody. No, it's not Scott. Scott is his boss, who's my cousin. And this is Adam. What in the world did I? That's funny how that popped out. His boss is my cousin. Is that still the case? Nothing's changed there.
His wife is your cousin.
Well, see, you're even better. Jackie and Scott. Jackie's my Well, Scott's. Hey, they're married. They're one flesh. Come on, let's be theologically correct.
That is true. That is true.
Wow. You know, it's funny how I get mixed up nowadays, and I get mixed up on the weirdest things, and it's just every once in a while you're just, why is my brain doing that? Oh, it's because of a lack of personal social interaction takes away your ability to be sharp. I'm pretty sure about that. I just made that up. Anyways, Adam is the spiritual director at Cornerstone Academy in Moose Jaw. Adam, you guys here at ComBap know him from preaching it here at church, preaching at camp, and being a general all about nice guy, helping us out on a regular basis. It's there. And he's got beautiful hair. Look at that hair.
We were just commenting about how, I want this hair and he wants this hair. So.
Yeah. Well, I have to admit my maintenance level is pretty excellent. So, but you have a wife who's a hairdresser, so you were rocking the flow the whole time. So that's good.
The last couple of months, it's been pretty great.
Okay. All right, give us our Bible verse of the day to start us off, and then we'll chat.
Sure. So the Bible verse of the day to start us off is Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. So just that second verse into the whole Bible that says, "The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the water."
Yeah, and there's it's the Trinity's already there too.
The Trinity's already there. I think about this verse, and I'll just jump in here and share a couple of thoughts. But I think about this verse, and there's sort of three descriptors that come out, right? Mm-hmm. So the first is formless, the second is empty, and the third is darkness. And I just think, part of me feels like those are a little bit about descriptors for our world kind of right now, right? It's like, all, formless, like, what does this look like? Everything is kind of, shape. The shape of our world is different. The structures that we, seem to have trusted have kind of evaporated. I like it. I liken it to, you play on the beach and you build those sand castles, and you think you're just far enough away from the wave that you're going to be safe, and whoosh, now we're, what was used to be these well-crafted sort of, fine-tuned castles are now just kind of these mounds of, sand that we're like, oh man, we've lost kind of this shape. We've lost this, structure that we had. Yep. The second piece, this emptiness, then is this idea that it's not just that we're left with all the pieces that we had, like kind of pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. It's that we actually feel like some of them are taken away. Like we're actually missing something. And so there's an emptiness and a, like there's some pieces that we're like, oh man, are we going to get those back? And so of course, man, we're dealing with grief. We're dealing with grief and loss. And, and then the darkness piece is just that confusion. Like, when you're in the dark, you don't know where you are, and you don't know where you're going. That's right. And,
that's why lights are very handy things.
Lights are very handy.
The light is a very handy thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so darkness is not just, in the sense, like it's that it's also confusion. Like if I don't see where I'm going, if fog is dark, whiteouts, right? Like, I mean, it's super bright, but I still am super disoriented.
Yeah. And actually, I've heard people have heard me talk about this entire COVID thing. It's like the fog of war. We really there's a bigger picture. We don't really have a handle on it, right?
Exactly.
And so if you're, like I said, if you're a guy sitting with your gun in the foxhole, you don't know the bigger picture. You don't even necessarily know what's coming at you.
Absolutely.
But over time, you'll be able to look back. Okay, so this is what was happening. This is what we could have been done better, and maybe learned a few lessons, But we're kind of in the fog of war. Data is helpful, and it's coming through, and I think we're getting a handle on it. But we're now seeing this transition from fear to freedom again, and it's tough.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I guess, like, the reason that I go here is not so much the first sentence, but that second sentence is to say, So we ask the question, where is God? Where is
Right.
God when my life is lacking shape or
Right.
form?
Yeah.
Where is God, like if where is God when I feel empty and broken and things are missing? And where is God when I'm confused and things are dark? And I love this, sentence that says, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the water.
Yeah.
It was like in the second verse of the Bible, God knew that there were going to be times in our world when we felt like things were empty,
Yeah.
felt like things were broken, and felt like things were confused. And it's like this beautiful foreshadow that God says, actually, I'm right there. My presence is hovering.
Yeah.
I'm close by. I'm nearby. And then he starts this powerful work of creation, right? And I think even like you're saying, I think sometimes we've been conditioned to ask, oh man, what are we going to get from this? Like what's going to come out of what's coming out of this?
Right.
And what's beautiful is that God actually creates into this. Like he doesn't look at COVID and say, oh man, like I better figure out a way to make this work.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I'm gonna speak light into the darkness. I'm gonna create mountains and skies and birds into the formlessness, into the emptiness. And I think in our own lives, like that's kind of where I've really had to been challenged, is to say, okay, God, like I just erased my next 16 weeks. I was supposed to speak at camp all summer long.
Yep.
Churches booked to speak, over through May and June and into August. And now it's like 16 weeks have just evaporated in my life.
That's right.
And literally it's like open hands saying, God, I'm less concerned about what I'm going to take out of this. Way more sort of saying, God, what are you going to put into this? What are you
going to form
and
like
speak and create into this? And I don't know, that for me has been a bit of a perspective shift, and it's something that Genesis 1-2 kind of helps me think
yeah,
through.
for sure. Well, and the whole forming process, I mean, and this is what God does. He takes the chaos and he forms it into things of beauty, and that's exactly what he did with nature, and that's what he does with us. So that's good. It's a good point. What's going on with the kids in the schools? You're the chaplain for the school, or spiritual director?
Yeah, spiritual director. And obviously it's really tough, like in a very similar setting. Like, how do you do life with people virtually, right? And I'm used to standing at the door and high-fiving kids as they come in, and connect with parents after school. So obviously we've had to really wrestle through the transition of what it means to do life online. Similar to what churches are doing, we're posting our chapels online. We're trying to connect with students kind of in smaller groups. So I jump in on Christian ethics classes. And we've done a really good job. About 90% of our kids are engaged in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, okay.
Through online Zoom calls or Google Classrooms and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And so we're doing our best, and feeling pretty encouraged in some areas, and just wishing that we could go back.
Has there been? So you said 90%. So the other 10% are just not attending, or are they actually withdrawn from school? How's that? What are those 10%?
Well, what happened was we kind of gave students the option of like what's called supplemental learning. So we everybody got guaranteed their mark, kind of where they were, middle of March.
Right. Okay.
And then we sort of said, okay, and if you want to keep going, you can, but you don't have to. So it was optional. And
let's face it, May and June, the sun is shining. The students aren't paying attention anyway.
Yeah. So to that end, one of the things that has happened is that they've sort of extended summer break, and it sounds like kind of June 12th now is the new last day of school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, when would it normally be?
It would have been June 26th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now, does that mean they're going to maybe try to pick it up on the? Of course, we don't know that yet. We're still in the fog of war. Yeah, we don't know.
We're trying to, we're trying to make plans. So that's even like the last 2 weeks of June. Then teachers are going to be putting game plans together, and we're going to have a little bit more clarity around what entry looks like into the fall.
So you've got graduates. How many graduates?
We've got 24 grade 12s.
Okay, so what is that going to look like for the graduates?
Yeah, so again, everything is going to be online.
Hmm.
Fortunately, we're not able to do anything kind of in person, as it were.
Right.
Um, and and so we're packaging blessings. One of the things that we do
Right.
as a Christian school is we speak kind of words of life over our students, and so we're looking at video packages and files that we're going to be able to send kids, and some hard copy stuff, and we'll send all that to them.
Is there
And
going to
then
be like a commencement live stream or something like that? How are you going to do that?
we'll probably end up actually just doing a like a video file that we'll send to students,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
rather than something kind of public that lives on the internet.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's tough. I mean, but I mean, I was writing a note to my my nephew's daughter. She's not even graduating yet. It's one of those time capsule ones. But anyways,
Yep.
and I said, all those other graduations from preschool, kindergarten graduation, grade 3 graduation, grade 7 graduation, those are all fakes. Those are all fakes.
There's still milestones.
No, heck no! Don't count that. What the heck? I'm a grouch. Get off my lawn. But the grade 12 one, I said that's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
Well, I feel like grade 8's an important threshold. We actually do.
Oh, shut up! It's not
No.
important.
Let me play this out just for a second, okay? So here's what we do. We do a grade 8 graduation, and then at the beginning of grade 9,
Heresy. Sorry, I'm just kidding.
at the beginning of grade 9, I actually take our grade 9s out to the Rockies, and we climb a mountain with them.
Oh, nice.
And it sort of represents this sort of space now where they take more ownership and direction over the course of their lives, and it's a pretty important threshold.
Which mountain do you climb?
We go to a camp called Crow's Nest Lake Bible Camp.
Yeah,
It's in
Crow's Nest Pass.
it's just Coleman, Alberta is the name
Yeah.
of the
Okay.
and we climb a mountain called Mount Century.
Oh, very good.
STRY, yeah, Century. So it's a great climb.
Is there ever an option? Do parents ever pay just to leave the kids up there, or not? Is it not? Maybe after all this home time, they might.
That's the only. I shouldn't say the only one, but that I never have problem getting parents to join me on that retreat.
Oh, okay, good.
It's been a ton of fun.
And grade 8s are so squirrely. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's getting to that point now. Even the introverts are starting to get out. So
well, hey, obviously we've learned things that we missed, but the Bible's imperative to say, hey, you need to be getting together is starting to show that that's super important. So
yeah, probably one of the most helpful phrases I heard right at the beginning of this was from the Finnish president, who tweeted, "We actually started out using the wrong language. We should have used the language physical distance instead of social distance, because we need to stay physically distant, but we actually need to stay socially and emotionally connected."
Yeah.
And I thought that was just a really helpful insight.
Yeah, no, we do sort of a podcast with the ministerial here, and that was one of the things that we focused on as well as it's physical distancing. But even with physical distancing, that you can't stick around for very long, because we're made to be physically close to. I mean, intimacy is it's a tough one.
Yeah. No,
like I said, I'm glad I'm not a politician. No,
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. It's a catch-22 for those guys there and gals. They're they know sort of what they need to do. They know how people are scared. They know, so it's a tough one. But hey, as a spiritual director, doesn't mean, which I guess technically I am too. We got to speak into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just one of my roles, hats that I get to wear is with the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada, and so we're just starting to have conversations around churches. I got an email this morning about a live webinar coming up about churches opening, churches reopening.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like? And
so you're
I'm a board member for the.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so the exemption, they had a rule that no one from Moose Jaw was allowed to be on that. So that's gone now.
well, I was I think it was still because I lived in Cairnport, so
Oh yeah, we don't want to talk about that either.
maybe they got the old address. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but but I do think it's important. Like, I mean, even there, through the EFC, we're trying to continue to encourage our leaders to think about the importance of religious freedom and
Oh yeah, for sure.
those kind of things, to say these are important things for our country
Yeah.
and for our people. That spiritual needs are really important needs. So.
A little bit of empathy too. I mean, we've got a taste of what many of the Christians in the world have to go through. Who aren't allowed to meet all the time. So it's been
Yeah,
it's
I
been
mean,
a
I think
little.
it's important to keep the conversations differently, right? I mean, there was a beautiful letter that was written that that sort of said what's under it. We're not really being threatened to, like, our faith is not being threatened.
Right.
Right, like that. And so I think it's even important to help me make sure that people are framing the conversations correctly, to say, like, you're not allowed to gather because it's not good for people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because we think gatherings are illegal. Right, like,
Mm-hmm.
Christian gatherings are still obviously celebrated and permitted and all those kinds of things. It's because we don't want you to gather to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we're actually trying to infringe on your religious freedoms and rights. And so I think it's important that we just make sure that we.
Oh, for sure. Even though there is an infringement, so there's still, See, that's what I mean. I'm glad I'm not a politician. So we've got, but I've heard many people say, when we've been praying for China and stuff, I never really understood what it meant, the frustration that they must be under, and the risks they take, right? I mean, the risks they take, because they are literally oppressed religiously as well as socially. We're just getting a social oppression for a short time, and it's not anywhere near the same, but it's a taste.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's important to recognize that the way that we've set up our world, at least in Western hemisphere, is we've sort of privilege the right of the individual.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
And this is a little bit of a challenge where people are saying, well, what do you mean I can't do this, or I can't do that, or I have to wear a mask, or, like, what if I don't want to wear a mask? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, like, yep. I think it's important as Christians to recognize that when Jesus is Lord, like, we actually, there is a relinquishing of our rights.
Yep.
As an individual, like so I think we do need to live with that humility and submission mindset, and the scriptures are pretty clear. Even for even First Peter, I one of my talks that I do with the EFC is called Flourishing in Babylon, and I really pull out of First Peter, where he says, love, honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, and honor the emperor. And I find it interesting that First Peter is telling his believers to honor the emperor, who was Nero. He was like the enemy of Christians.
He was one of the worst. One of the three worst emperors. There you
go. But he said, this is how he goes on. He says, so, because if you suffer for doing good.
Right.
Don't, like, if you suffer for doing bad, if you break the law and you suffer, like, that's what you get. But if you suffer for doing good, then remember, like, that's the example that we have in Jesus Christ. And so I think it's important to recognize, again, kind of to say, why are we being persecuted? The Christians in China are being persecuted because of Jesus Christ. Like, they are, blessed are you who are persecuted for my name's sake. Those are the beautiful people that we need to be praying for around our world, who are being persecuted for our faith. Yep. We're just being asked to stay at home. So I think there's a little bit of a different.
Well, like I said, it's a taste.
Yeah.
And it's funny because at least around here, all the people who are, what I would consider to be the most risk, we already know the older people are, they're the ones who are chomping at the bit the most. So it's like, dude, but it's, no, it's like I said, we're in the fog of war. we don't know. But hey, I appreciate that, and appreciate you guys over there at Cornerstone, and
likewise, you guys too,
and your various ministries. I'm going to pray for you. And what's your wife's first name again?
Angela.
And you got 3 kids, 4 kids?
3 kids.
You should have 4. 4 is the better number.
Oh, we have 3 and a dog. I don't know if that counts.
No, no, I don't think no, I don't think that counts. But let me pray for you guys. Lord, for Adam and Angela, with also the Cornerstone School and their family, their extended family, we do pray a blessing upon them. May they be able to continue to not just educate children, but also continue to communicate the love of Jesus Christ in tangible ways during this time. And bless that school and their work, and also bless Adam and his ministry. And as he looks towards the summer of uncertainty, I do pray that you'll give him and his family peace. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Man, bless you guys. Thanks so much for letting me be part of your day.
Hey, well, someone's got to be part of our day because ain't nothing left. All right. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you, Joel.
And we're done. Hey, buddy. So